Have you ever heard of somebody who abducts little boys?
Room below's got some horrible smells.
We don't want to go in there. What are you doing?
Complimentary room service. Here is that.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Deads. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the show. This is a half-hour chat show where we talk about a movie that we've watched. If this is not your first time, welcome back. We appreciate you joining us every week. This is sometimes also a podcast. So if you're listening to this is a visual show. So we highly recommend checking us out. You can do that on our website, which is thenewlydeads.com for all of your Newly Deads needs. On that site, you're going to find information about this show, about different maybe events that we're doing. We are going to be doing the Witches Market again this year, which is the first Saturday in October. It takes place here in Northern Illinois at the Boone County Fairgrounds, and it's put on by Wolf Hollow Events. So we highly recommend coming to that as well if you're in this area, or if you just want to take a drive and come see us, because then you can see our art and hang out with us for a little bit. Maybe give us a high five or a thumbs up, or if you want to hug Joel, I'm sure he likes that. Maybe not, I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. So check us out on our site if you want to. And our dog is licking our tripod. So if the camera's jigging a little bit, that's Shaggy giving you guys some love too. So we appreciate his enthusiasm for people who are joining us on this fun adventure of movie reviews. This week we did watch a movie called Grim Love. And we do have some criteria for these movies. So in order for us to keep things kind of on the same even keel, all the movies that we watch are under $5. They are a horror, thriller, or sci-fi genre film. And it needs to be a movie that neither of us have ever seen before. And so Grim Love definitely fits all of those categories. It's a Fangoria Fright Fest movie. Yeah, so Grim Love. Interesting. Do you remember where we got this?
Probably at Hidden Treasures.
It says movie F. It's got like a sticker on the front
It's
of it.
rated F.
Yeah.
For
fun.
There's nothing fun about
for
that movie.
Fangoria Fright Fest. How about that?
Maybe just people didn't like it.
Yes. But we usually try to find movies if we can out in the wild. We prefer not to purchase them like online if we can help it. Occasionally we do watch movies that are streaming and things of that nature. But yeah, if this is correct and we got it at Hidden Treasures is here in the Rockford McChesney Park Loves Park area. So that is in Northern Illinois again. And it's a really cool place. So if you are into thrifting, or not thrifting necessarily, but if you're into like antiques and local like vendors and crafting and things of that nature, highly recommend. It's a really cool store. It's got everything you can possibly need. It takes us usually about an hour or 2 hours sometimes when we go through it, if we're really concentrating and looking at all the booths and stuff. But it's a really cool place. So highly recommend that. I'm highly recommending lots of things today.
Apparently.
So I'm going to read the synopsis of Grim Love, and then we're going to get into it. So let's see. All right. Katie Armstrong, an American woman studying criminal psychology, finds herself inexplicably drawn to a bizarre murder case for her thesis. She chooses to research the notorious German cannibal Oliver Hartwin and his dead lover, Simon, who had allowed Oliver to murder and then devour him as the ultimate act of love and self-sacrifice. Katie soon becomes strangely obsessed with her subjects as she dives deeper into her research, and she makes a horrifying discovery that will change the case and Katie forever.
Did it really change the case?
I feel like this synopsis is not accurate. We'll talk about it when we start talking about the movie. Yeah, there's some issues with the synopsis back here. Like, Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You agree with me?
I don't feel like she changed anything.
And I don't feel like she found a discovery that's going to change the case in Katie Forever. I'm not entirely sure what they're referring to there. But yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of like winners of best actor and director. There's a lot of little film festivals that it was like nominated for and winner of, and official selection in the London Fright Fest Film Festival in 2007. It's got a lot of like accolades,
A pedigree.
Yeah, pedigrees, official selection at the South by Southwest Film Festival in 2020 or in 2027.
Whoa.
In the future. No, in 2007. Interesting. So I'm wanting to kind of unpack the information about the actual movie that we watched, and maybe we, I don't know, miss some things. I don't know, but we're going to watch the trailer with you guys, and then we're going to come back. This week, let's make the trailer just like a German car, like a Volkswagen or something. And
Okay.
yeah, that's it. Nothing fancy. Maybe make it go fast because it's, on the Autobahn or whatever. All right, I'm going to pause it. We'll be back and we'll talk about the movie.
Is it wrong to want to find someone who can see inside of you,
Oh, yeah.
into the darkest corners of your heart, and still love you? On September 19th, 1998, Oliver Hartwin first made contact via the internet with Simon Grombeck. 10 days later, they met. 12 hours later, Simon Grombeck was dead.
Oh my god!
And every evening, darkness came over the forest.
All right. Hopefully you enjoyed that trailer. I'm not sure if Mr. Newly Dead did anything to it, but sometimes he likes to do a little bit of editing himself and adding some things into it. But it looks like he's got his sheet of paper.
Yes.
You know what that means? It's time for Mr. Newly Dead to read his notes.
I got notes.
Yeah.
You got Q's, I got A's.
Yeah.
So whenever we watch a film, I will take notes digitally, and then I will print them out onto this fine little sheet here. So it gives a little guidance, a little stuff that happened in the film to discuss. And then at the end of the year, Mr. Newly Dead will take all of the digital versions of it, put them into a flip book, throw it up on our formerly mentioned website. You can find 2023, 2024, and 2025 all available currently on the website. You can go flip through it, take a look. Some people enjoy it. I don't know. It's a thing. Mrs. New that it also is committed to take notes yet again for the second year. She is currently sitting at 100% again, except now she's taking them on her iPad instead of in a analog format.
Woohoo!
So looks like you don't have a lot of notes there.
I have some notes. I didn't fall asleep.
That's true. She
Sometimes
did not
I fall asleep, but I haven't fallen asleep in a while.
I have a full slate of notes. So I'm going to show her what I've got on here and try to avoid any sort of spoilery things. I only drew one thing, so there's not really a lot to
I
look
can
at.
just blow up my thing. A plant.
Just a flower. That's all.
Why'd you draw a flower?
I don't know. I just
I
started
also
drawing a
drew a
flower.
plant
Oh.
with a flower.
Yours, I understand.
Yeah,
Having seen
yeah.
where that was inspired by.
Interesting.
I don't know where mine came from. Though.
Weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Don't remember.
And I'm now able to put like the
You've got the
the
box
cover.
art, yeah,
Yeah,
which is different than that box art.
it is. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why Bailey decided to sit up all of a sudden, but here we are.
He's very interested. He wants
So-
to read the notes.
Here, did you want to look at the notes? Okay. So Grim Love is from 2006, currently sitting at 5.1 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database.
Wow.
That's pretty high for some of the
That's-
stuff we review.
Really high.
Last week's movie was only 2.8, so go figure. This is directed by Martin Weiss, who actually you may remember from The Hills Have Eyes 2, the remake of, or the remake, it wasn't technically a remake of the second one. It was a continuation of the remake of the first one that Alexandra Aja did. I enjoyed it. It was a little bit kind of cut and paste, but it was not bad. It's on the shelf. He also did something called Squatters, which, yeah. And then has done a ton of music videos, has actually been making music videos since 1995
Wow.
and is still making music videos. So that's kind of his claim to fame, I guess.
Was that Hills Have Eyes one, the creepy one with like the bird
The bird?
cage or whatever? Like there's like a bird.
Bird
Creepy.
cage?
Yeah, like creepy essay kind of stuff.
Oh, well, yeah. The first one,
Maybe that's what I'm
it
thinking
had
of.
Aaron,
Creepy
I forgot his last name.
baby feeding grossness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
That's the first one.
yes,
Okay.
which was, and had, what's his name? Gandagrain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was the main one.
Oh,
He was the dad in that
Right,
one.
right, right. Okay.
Which I appreciate. I actually like it better than the Wes Craven one. I know that's kind of divisive, but is what it is. The second one is where they send the military in to kind of see what's going on, and
Okay.
then they all of a sudden get destroyed by all of the Hills people. So this was written by T.S. Fowle, F-A-U-L-L, Fowle. This is their only writing credit. That's it. So I guess
Their masterpiece.
they're kind of like Kerry Russell in the film. They just were really obsessed with this thing, wrote the script, and then moved on.
Huh.
So speaking of which, this stars Kerry Russell, who you may remember from a little show that was on way back in the 90s called Felicity. So I may refer to her as Felicity in this episode.
I started writing like Felicity on here, and then I was like, I'll just call her a real name.
She was in one of my favorite of the Mission Impossible, earlier Mission Impossible film. She was in Mission Impossible 3. And spoiler alert, something that happens to her is pretty unnerving, the way they carried it out. But we'll let you watch it yourself. She was also in Cocaine Bear, which we saw.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a lot of fun. She was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was also a good time. She was in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. And oddly enough, she was in the Clerks television show pilot episode.
Weird.
There was only one episode that was made. It was a pilot episode to try and turn Clerks into a TV show. Obviously, that didn't happen.
That would have been
Probably
weird.
for the best.
She was also in a movie called Waitress.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite
I forgot to add
movie
that
that
one.
she's in.
I knew
Yeah.
that you liked
I
that one.
love that movie.
She had me watch that. You can find the Clerks pilot on YouTube, I think. It's totally different than what you're thinking. So I included this name as we were doing this because I didn't realize he was the secondary, like, there was three main characters. Thomas Huber played the character of the guy that wanted to be eaten. He was in 2005's Aeon Flux movie.
Oh.
He was in something called The Undertaker, which I don't think was the Joe Spinell movie because he was too young for that. So I'm guessing it was a later one. My Prince, My King. I don't know what that's about. And something called Beyond the Wall. Not Beyond the Garden Wall, just Beyond the Wall. Then
That's
this.
over the garden wall.
Oh, yes. Never mind. Then the main guy, the guy that wants to eat people, is played by Thomas Kretschmann, who you may remember from the King Kong film done by, what's his name? The guy that, Peter Jackson. Sorry, I'm like drawing a blank and everything. He was also in Resident Evil Apocalypse, the second one. Blade 2, the one that is considered the best of the series, the Guillermo del Toro Blade film. He was in Open Grave with Charlton Copley, which is kind of an underrated take on zombie films. It's a little bit different. It's good though. And he was in Hostel 3, the worst of the Hostel films. And a lot of people will say they were all terrible, but I would disagree. The first and the second one are well done. The third one is hot garbage. Not done by Eli Roth. That's probably why. This also stars Axel Wiedekind, who was in something called Lucky Fritz. 80 Minutes, which sounds like the time of the film. Shoot the Duke, which I don't know why you want to shoot poop, but whatever. And Look for Them. That's the number 4. Look for Them. And finally, we have Nikolai Kinski. And the reason I included Nikolai is that they are Klaus Kinski's kid.
Oh.
And if you know if you're a genre film lover or just lover of film from like the 70s and 80s, he was a very notoriously difficult to work with actor who was in a lot of really big films. But this is his kid. Nikolai was also in Aeon Flux from 2005, oddly enough. He was in the 2015 remake of Point Break, which I never saw. Was in Axolotl Overkill, which we've actually brought up on the show once before.
Axolotl Overkill?
Yep. It's not, I don't even think it's about, why are you licking my hand? It's not even about axolotls, I don't think.
Interesting.
Yellow Bird, which is not anything to do with flipping the bird. And Plan A, which is different than the Emma Stone film.
Oh.
Called something. I thought it's not Plan A.
It's not Plan A.
No.
It's the letter A or something A. Yeah.
I'm really on my game today. So at this point, my lovely wife turns to me and she says,
"What did you think?"
And I say, I don't have any idea, apparently. I'm really confused at this point. So obviously, as we mentioned, this is based on a true story. I did a little bit of research. I meant to include some more of the actual information here, but it is a true story that happened. I remember when the case was a thing, and the two gentlemen involved with it.
Easy A.
Easy A, thank you. Obviously had some issues, and the story, just to leave out a lot of the gory details, remains pretty faithful to what happened in terms of their aspect of the story. So it's kind of like a biopic. It's not really horror per se.
I mean, it is, considering
it's horrific.
It's cannibalism.
I would say it's, I guess that's the closest thing. It's not really a thriller either.
Well, I guess it depends on what your definition of horror is, right? Like, do you feel like it needs to be spooky, scary, like that kind of thing? Or do you feel like it just contains horror elements, and that would be what would classify it as being like horror?
I mean, it's kind of like a horrific, thriller-y thing.
Well, the word horrific means horror.
Is horror, yeah, I guess. Because, it's not really like, like a serial killer movie, and it's not really like she said, like a horror movie with an antagonist that's out knocking off teenagers at a summer camp. But I guess that's as close as we can probably relate it. And incidentally, in the trailers, there was another movie, a horror movie in there with that starred Calista Flockhart, aka Ally McBeal, and I was kind of hoping that they would make a movie with Felicity and Ally McBeal where they would be like Tiffany and Deborah Gibson in the sci-fi movies, and they would fight each other at some point. Yeah. They're both really tiny.
Yeah.
It's pretty slow. It's very sad.
I wrote pretty slow.
Don't watch this movie if you want a pick-me-up or you're in a bad headspace, because it's
pretty bleak.
Yeah. There is nothing redeeming about this film. The way it's shot is very dark, very brooding, very sad, very just
depressing.
Very depressing. That's not necessarily a bad thing in terms of the filmmaking, because they accomplished, I think, what they were shooting for, which was a certain kind of sense of dread and kind of loneliness, and I think they achieved that. But the biggest thing I really had a problem with this film was Kerry Russell's part.
Same.
She had no purpose in this film.
I wrote, why is Kerry Russell even in this? Could have just told the story without her.
Yeah. I think, honestly, if they were doing like a Dahmer type situation or something like that, let's stay away from Monster, the Ed Gein retelling, but let's stick with, something more like the Dahmer story. just tell the story.
Yeah.
There is enough information here that they could have easily stretched out her 20 minutes of film or 30 minutes of film and made it into a full-length feature without that, and probably would have been more
and embellished maybe.
satisfying.
I mean, they could have made it a little bit, more, obviously it's a fictionalized version of like their story, but had elements of exactly what kind of happened. But yeah, I feel like they really could have just focused on the character, and developed them a little bit more and just left her completely out of it. I think that, the reason was because they wanted it to be, I don't know, told by somebody who went down a rabbit hole, I guess, of like trying to figure out like why. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I mean, she was a student and it like messed with her head so much that she like stopped going to school and just kept researching it and doing that kind of stuff, right? Isn't that kind of like the vibe you got from that?
Yeah, she went to Germany to be closer to it, to study, to then make this her thesis.
Yeah. And then she ended up like, I don't know. There was no reason for her. Like, I really feel very strongly. And if you want Carrie Russell to be in the movie, then make her just a side character, like in
A friend,
make her because there's like a mom character, like make her the mom in one of the parts. I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me, like why they even had her.
The friend of Thomas Kretschmann's character prior to everything kind of going sideways before his mom dies. Like, she could have played that part if you really want to have her in it. But essentially, I think she's kind of maybe supposed to be our gateway to the story. Like, she's the narrator, so to speak, because she kind of tells the story as it's going along. And at one point, she is seeking out the videotape because apparently, and this is all factual like I said, the story itself is pretty close to the actual real story, that he videotaped the whole thing. And the videotape was seen by the police and I think maybe the trial. But after that, it was never seen again. And she got a copy of the tape off of another cannibal website. It was delivered to her, which incidentally, if somebody says, hey, I left this outside your door.
I'm into cannibalism. Like, I'm going to leave this outside your door. I'd be like, no, thanks.
And you're this 90-pound, 5 foot nothing woman
Yeah.
all by yourself in this apartment that has a door made of cardboard, apparently. Are you really going to go to the door and get this? And in the day and age where,
she was like
computers
in the bathtub.
existed.
Yeah. She was like in the bathtub. She's like, let me go check the door in my robe
Gonna
or
put
whatever.
on this
Like,
tiny little outfit and still wet.
Yeah. Right. It was dumb.
But
she didn't need to be in the movie. She
No,
really didn't. They're probably just doing it because they needed a named character, kind of a thing. Like the other people were like, yes, they've got really good acting credits and stuff like that.
Thomas Kretschmann is fairly well known.
Maybe people just didn't, everybody knows who Carrie Russell is. So like, let's add Carrie Russell into the mix. And she's very like gothy and,
kind of out of character for her, honestly.
Yeah, it didn't feel right. Like there was no reason to have her in there. And I feel like it would have made the story better
Stronger?
without her.
Yeah.
In it. Yeah.
Because like
stronger.
she, at the end, we'll jump ahead here and we'll circle back. But at the end, she gets the videotape, she watches it. And as she's watching it, the events that are the end of the story, so to speak, are playing out and it affects her. And then she just like is freaking out. And that's the end of her storyline. Like it goes on a little bit after that with Kretschmann's, kind of what happened afterwards, sort of. But that's where she ends. Like it doesn't say she finished her paper. It doesn't say she went crazy. It doesn't say she went home and realized that she made a mistake. It just ends. And everything up to that point, she's basically kind of retracing their steps. And there was no point. There was 0 point.
I do feel like too, like the timeline skipped around a little bit in a weird way. Like, stuff happened like earlier in the movie and then they show it again at the end. And so like, but it didn't feel like a movie besides the fact that like she's thinking and doing research on something that happened in the past. But I feel like that's fine. You didn't also have to have then the characters like flashing back, but not really flashing back sometimes. Like it was a little weird in that, like they could have just told the story, like just the character building and told the story without having to do like weird flashbacks, like with him preparing for the thing and like, that kind of stuff. And
I mean,
I don't know. It was just weird.
Because at the end of the day, what you have is two very sad and lonely and obviously mentally distraught characters. One that's lost their mother and has had a fascination with body parts and whatnot, and another who's had a fascination with wanting to be eaten. And they both kind of just perfect storm, end up on this Cannibal Cantina website. One wants a victim and one wants to be the victim. And the other, Kretschmann's character goes through, several other people first that are all just, thinking it's a sex thing or whatever. And,
And what we have an issue, and quote me if I'm wrong, but like with the synopsis on the back here, where it says that, he wants to eat his dead lover, Simon, who allowed him to murder and then devour him as the ultimate act of love and self-sacrifice. The way that they portrayed the story, they met on the website, and there was no love story there. That it was literally just like, I want you to do this to me. I want to do this to you. Let's just make this a thing. And like, there was no build up. There was no like romance. There was no like getting together and like being together and then like falling in love and doing that kind of stuff. And I really don't feel like, I mean, other than the fact that she watched the video and it really messed her brain up or whatever, I don't feel like it changed the case. And Katie, like that's why we have the issue with the back of the synopsis here. It just didn't feel like that. It felt like very transactional, right? Like, I want to eat someone. I want you to eat me. This is what I want to be done. And he's like, okay, I can do that. It wasn't like a love kind of thing. It was transactional is how it felt, know?
I think the guy that wanted to be eaten felt grateful that he was finally going to get his wish and vice versa. But beyond that, he was in a relationship and a very loving relationship
and
was
loved
happy in that relationship.
And felt guilt for like putting...
Almost backed out.
Yeah.
But, and the reality of the story is that all happened. And apparently prior to them actually meeting, they had a lot of back and forth for, I want to say it was like 10 days or something before they actually met. So they kind of give you a little taste of that in that. So they got to know each other a little bit more. So it wasn't totally just like, they met the next day, but everything else was pretty much exactly what she's saying. Like, and one of the things they didn't talk about is at the end of it, as soon as he's killed him and eaten him and he immediately is back on there. He's like, I'm running out of food. I need someone else to be a victim. It took him 10 months to eat all of the first person. Like he stored it in his freezer and nobody came looking for him. Nobody, knew about this initially. That happened way later, but it was a long period of time between part A and part B of the story. And after he finished it, then he went back online and he ended up having like, I forget, I should have wrote down the exact number here, but he had like 95 other correspondences or something like that. And he met with other people and none of them ever went through with it. So he never killed anybody again, never ate anybody again. But he tried. And eventually, things got found out and he got tried. And initially it was a secondary murder charge or manslaughter or something like that. And then eventually he got retried and it was considered murder. So I think he's imprisoned at this point. But, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was... I didn't feel like I needed a bath afterwards, but I also felt like, I needed a hug.
There is like a point in the, there is a point in the movie where the one guy has the job. Do you feel like that was like a flash forward, like after he'd already done the deed and he cooked and fed it to his coworkers?
I don't know. I wrote that down that I wasn't sure.
That's why I was saying like, there was no need for them to flash forward, flash back, do weird stuff like that. Like, because he was weirdly, I cooked you lunch and now he's like watching them eat it. So I don't know if that's actually part of like the story too. Like, he's like, oh, it's a family secret. Like, but he was feeding something to like his coworkers, and so it
could have been,
and now I'm wondering,
have that shot of him over the shoulder that you never really saw what he was doing. Incidentally, he never cooked his head.
He didn't.
No, that's the one thing he didn't do, and he eventually buried it in his backyard, and I think that's probably what
they found
helped kind of. But for some reason he kept that. But anyway, so final thoughts, I guess.
So we do have some final thoughts. You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
Sure, why not?
All right, that was really, really slow and really boring. The real life story is fascinating, but this is not.
Oh. So my final thoughts were, this was a thing that really happened, sadly.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
And so, out of $5 or less, how much would you pay to see this movie again?
I felt like it deserved something, so I gave it a quarter.
Oh, I said that they need to pay me $10 to watch it again.
Wow. I figured just for because everybody in the movie, even Kerry Russell, did the best with what they had. And I felt every bit of what the characters were feeling, the two main characters. But do I need to see it again?
Yeah.
No, I really don't.
The acting was great, or fine. I wouldn't say great, but like the
Above
acting
average.
the acting was fine. Everything was okay. It's just, it was so slow paced, and adding her into the mix just really took me out of the whole experience.
Yeah.
All right. So if they don't want to watch this, what should they watch instead?
So I figured I'd go, instead of going, realistic, this happened sort of situation, which, oh yeah, you can blow that up if you want.
Yeah.
I opted to go with cannibalism in a more entertaining way. So I went with The Silence of the Lambs, which
It's entertaining.
it is entertaining. Incidentally, if you'd like to see The Silence of the Lambs, Fathom is doing the Fathom event, and it will be being shown again in theaters. So don't miss it. I'm hoping we can get to see it because it's one of my favorite films.
Yeah, it would be awesome to see it on the big
And I've
screen.
not recommended it before, but
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter is one of the greatest antagonist characters ever
I
created.
feel like that is not a debate. Everybody agrees.
He's licking the tripod again, showing his love for
He is
all of you
weird.
watching.
Man, he likes Hannibal Lecter, apparently.
He is.
All right, what are we watching next week?
Oh, yeah. Next week we are on the second one down. So we watched The Beast from 10,000 Fathoms. So we're on to
The second one on the left side?
the one after The Beast of 10,000 Fathoms.
The Phantom from 10,000 Leagues?
We watched that one already with the one underneath it.
Okay. All right. This is from the Attack of the Killer Bees, B-rated movies, 10 movie collection. We are watching Attack of the Giant Leeches.
From 1959.
Yes, it's black and white.
Of course.
Okay. All right, so mysterious disappearances and the strange circumstances surrounding them grip the swamp patrolled by game warden Steve Benton.
Good old Steve Benton.
The end.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I can't say it enough how much we love hanging out with you guys every week. And again, if this isn't your first time, hopefully you'll come back and see us again in the future. So until next week.
Keep it cheap and creepy.
Bye.
Doesn't mean you should go chasing the dead.
It may be your robot, but it's my house.
I'm gonna get a close look at these sharks.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, I'll be careful.
Daddy farts are the loudest. Daddy farts are the grossest. Daddy just farted.